Hello.
Hello, Mr. Abhinav. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I would like to welcome you all to this live edition of KYE Talks, wherein we will be talking to these special entrepreneurs who work for a cause, selflessly, rightfully so. And today, one such entrepreneur that we have on board with us is Mr. Abhinav Apte. He's a compost enthusiast and he's a social entrepreneur. And his what do I say about his initiative? So, like, let me first talk about social entrepreneurship. What is social entrepreneurship? Social entrepreneurs are people who have the same skill set as entrepreneurs. They have the same multitasking capabilities, but they are using all these capabilities and these skills for a social cause. So they know that money may or may not come, but they are completely dedicated towards what social cause they are representing. This ensures to strike a balance between economy and society, because economy ke liye to sari entrepreneurs, they are working, but who will be working for social causes? So we have such special social entrepreneurs that help us with social causes. Today, Mr. Abhinav Apte we have here. He's a compost enthusiast and he enjoys wordplay, and therefore he named his initiative with a twist, that is come post. We will get to know more about it as we talk to Mr. Abhinav. So, Abhinav, you
So
were telling us how you came across composting. That was your days in Bangalore. And
yeah,
would you like to add
and
anything to it?
yeah, so I met a lot of these champions. No, there were so many champions in Bangalore. Like no, Vani Murthy was one of them, and no, there are so many. They used to have these gatherings at various places, and no, they used to organize a lot of fairs where they used to exchange a lot of things. So I went to one such places, and then I just interacted with some folks out there, and then they said it's pretty easy. You just have to do a small, pick up a small container, and then you just start, and then whatever you can just go with the flow and understand what happens, and you can learn it yourself. So that is how I got into composting, and I had my a share of failures and share of smell and all those things. And so I just kept at it, and finally when I got the result, and the result was so beautiful that the smell of the compost and the satisfaction you get because of how you the satisfaction that you get about,
you feel very connected to Mother Earth.
yes, that is one. And also also the satisfaction that you get when you feel that no, none of your waste is adding to the already so many issues in your city, and no, you are not adding to those issues. So that gives you a good feeling. Plus there are so many other benefits as well, as to know there are so many things that when you use your compost, whatever you have eaten, whatever fruits, vegetables you eat, those also sprout. So the seeds survive the process of composting, and when you add your compost to your plants, those seeds survive and they germinate, and they give you saplings that no, you get surprised. No, I never sowed these kind of seeds. How is it that this is germinating from my pot? So those kind of satisfactions we got, and then it became a part of life. Then once you get that feeling, you never want to stop composting. And
yeah, you don't want to go back. You don't want to
yes,
look back. Now
yes,
life
yes,
is new and it's greener.
yes. So you feel like no, now this is my no, I am going to get you become possessive about composting. No, this is my, I am not going to give my fertilizer or my compost to anybody else. Let me use it myself. So that kind of feeling happens, and
you become much more dedicated to that cause. Yeah, once you see those results coming in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also when you see that process, the process is very interesting. So
yes, I was going to ask you, for our audience that may not know what exactly composting it or its benefits, if you can just give us a short introduction to composting, then it will be great.
Yeah, so when I talk about composting, I always talk about why we have to compost. So one of the issues is so there are so many landfills and all those things, but there is a much bigger subject, which we all most of us tend to overlook,
Right.
is the journey of how our food comes to our table.
Table.
So this is a very interesting thing. No, if I can ask you, if if you can give me an example of if anything that you have for breakfast or lunch, or you like, let's say, take an example of anything that you might have had. So let's know if you can name, or we can take any example.
So
Let's
I had bread like bread pakoras today
Okay.
for breakfast.
Yeah. So when you talk about bread pakoda, no, you have so many things that go into that bread pakoda. So
Yeah.
how is bread made? Bread is made from wheat,
Wheat.
and wheat is a crop that is grown in more quantities. Like majority of the wheat that is supplied to all over India, it comes from northern states
Oh,
like
yeah.
Punjab, Haryana, those states. So if you can imagine, let us go through that journey of how that wheat turned into bread and came to your plate.
Right.
So that wheat that wheat has to be, it takes a good 3-4
Long.
months for the
Right.
wheat.
Right.
Yeah. So the farming process, it takes around 3-4 months, and
Right.
the farmer has to toil. The weather has to support. It has the water has to be available. Enough of nutrients he has to add to those the soil. And then after all that process, it is then stored at a place which is safe. That then it has to be protected from pests and insects and all kind of these things, this kind of things.
Pesticides. Oh, yeah.
Then you have to separate that wheat from the stalk. Then that wheat has to be then it has to be transported first. Then it comes to a storage space, and then from various networks it comes to your place. So for example, let's go for the journey of that wheat from Punjab to Mumbai. So in Mumbai, there would have been a mill which would have made it into flour, and from flour there would have been an industry which is making it into bread, and from that bread has come to your table.
Right.
So even when that bread comes to your table, you don't know if it is close by, you will walk. But if otherwise you go on a two-wheeler and get that bread from there. So a lot of diesel, a lot of petrol, a lot of effort and energy goes into having that on your table.
Right.
Once you have it on your table, you don't eat it like that. You made a bread pakoda out of it.
Right.
Okay, so somebody has made that effort of making it into a bread pakoda.
Right.
Now that effort plus the gas that has been used for that. So the LPG which has been used to make that, to heat it up and to make it to ensure that the right temperature, the LPG used comes from very far off places. We are not self-sufficient in India for LPG.
Right.
LPG comes from, most of it comes from Middle East. We import almost more than 50% of our LPG from outside. So that LPG also travels a lot. That LPG taken from ships, and then all the way it comes to a refinery. From that refinery, it comes to your place, that is bottled, then it comes to your place. And after all this effort, you have the bread pakoda. And after you have it, it may not be bread pakoda, it can be anything else that you have every day. And all that you have, most of it is consumed, but some part of it is discarded, and that goes into your bin.
Right. Yeah.
Now, once it goes to your bin, so once it goes to your waste bin, after so much effort, you can imagine how much effort and how much energy and resources go into that particular thing to cook that. And once you put it on in your dustbin, there is another journey which starts. There is another huge journey which is full of resources that again goes into disposal and processing of that particular thing. So that person, waste picker comes, he takes it from your place, he goes to a maybe a collection center. From that collection center, he has to again go to some place where it is processed or either dumped, and then there is a huge energy and resources that are spent by your municipality or whichever local body you are in. So when you do composting, you not only respect the journey that your food has which has come from traveled so much. You also stop the journey of that waste from your house to that dump site where it could have been dumped.
Right.
So not only are you segregating at source, you are also processing and disposing and also using that ready compost in your various plants and for your various applications. So that is where like they say in COVID, you have to break the chain. Like that, you have to break this chain of resources and energy and effort that has been put into getting that food to your plate, and then again processing and disposing of that waste which you generate. Yes. So we see a future where this waste that you create in your house or in your wherever you stay, you stop you stop that journey of that waste and from going to the landfill. So we see a future where wet waste does not travel at all.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. So, like what you mean, Abhinav, is from what I understand, I'm going to say is that from all the waste that a household has, organic waste, that is this wet waste, is forms a majority part of the waste. And when all of that waste is being put in the bin,
Yes.
Were you giving us some figures?
Yes, go on. You're saying it correctly. Yeah. So like
all
around
of that
65-70%, like 2/3 of the waste is approximately.
Right. So 65% of the waste that we are generating on a daily basis is organic waste, which is wet waste, which can be reduced. So this problem that we are having lately about landfills filled with dumping yards, and like there's so much of waste in this world right now, and most of it is organic waste, which we could have just recycled and used for our own, greener tomorrows. And this is like such a wake-up call for all of us right now. All we have to do is make sure that the wet waste is being used, recycled, and used in a much better way, in an organic way, instead of being just dumped into the dump yard.
Correct.
So, Abhinav,
correct.
Like all kind of food can be made into compost. All the food waste that is there.
Yes. Yeah. So very good question. So yes, I was having this interesting discussion with students of a primary or a secondary school. I don't remember, but that's this conversation I had some 10 years back, and I still remember young children. And then I had this conversation with them, and I was just explaining to them what is biodegradable, what is not biodegradable, etc. And the response which one of the students gave me, it just I still remember that response. When I asked him, what is the difference? So he said, whatever is made by God is biodegradable. And whatever humans make, it may or may not be biodegradable. So what he said was, whatever is there in the nature. So like your question, when you ask this question, that whatever food, can you compost any food? So the response is this. So composting is not something which human beings have invented. Composting has always been there in the world. Nature, only thing is when it happens in your own backyard or in your own apartment, only then you call it composting. Otherwise, it anyways happens. Even if you don't do anything about it, still composting happens.
Right. So you mean to
So
say that all the food that we consume that is naturally available in the nature,
everything can be composted.
yeah, that can be
Yes.
composed. What cannot be composed out of the food items we
Yes.
consume are the processed foods. Those are the foods that cannot be made into compost, right?
Yeah. No, no, no,
Also,
no. So anything that is made by for example, plastic. Plastic is not something that nature makes. Plastic is
yeah,
something that humans have made. So anything that is there in the nature, it will all get composted. Only thing is that the only difference being when we coach people on composting, it's only to ensure that the composting that they do is manageable. No, there is no smell, there is no stink, and no
right,
there are not so many insects that go into the composting. If the composting, like there are, if you've seen if you go to the forest, so many things just fall off the trees and etc. They all turn into soil. Nobody,
right,
there is no human intervention over there.
right.
So anything that is made by any food item can be composted. There is no food item which cannot be composted. If we can consume it, the bacteria
Yeah.
and the fungi and all those insects also, all those organisms also can consume it.
Right. So, after talking to Abhinav, when I researched a little about composting, what I got to know is composting is basically filling this organic waste, the scraps, vegetable scraps or stuff into a bin, and then letting it decompost. And then whatever new organic waste is, being you have at home, every time you cook some vegetables and whatever waste comes out of it, you put that waste again into that composting bin, and you're basically giving the bacteria, the fungi, an environment in itself to decompose these these scraps at a regular state, so that it becomes like a chain, a non-stop change, and it keeps composting the waste that is being there. Am I right, Abhinav?
Yeah. So basically, you are just allowing all the microorganisms a place where they can just play around with your kitchen scraps and have a fun time in that, and grow, multiply themselves, and have a feast, and then just use that all those scraps to make good natural fertilizer, which we call
Right.
compost, and then that is how it is used by the plants.
Right. And given the pandemic and the irony of the situation is, what we need most is what we are supposed to naturally have in the environment, that is oxygen. But it is because of the human intervention that we are on such a lack of oxygen, that there's so much pollution in the nature that we don't have oxygen anymore in the environment. And lately, having house plants has become a thing. Abhinav, can you hear me?
Correct.
Having house plants has become a thing. So,
Yes.
so house plants also
Yes,
do need
yes.
a certain
Yeah. I
kind of
can able to hear.
If composting is being done at a home level, then a good fertilizer is ready for you to take care of your home plants. A lot of times people are unable to take care of their plants because these plants are not getting the kind of nutrients that they require to grow and to blossom. But if composting is done at a low, like home level, then they can have their own fertilizers to make sure that the plants are growing healthier and they have a fresher feel at their homes.
Correct. So taking your point ahead, no, you have brought in a very good point, that your plants also need a lot of nutrients that when you have in your apartment. Now again, let us go back to how these nutrients come. So many people use fertilizers, who are not home composting, or either they buy compost or they use fertilizers like urea.
Right,
now, if you go back to the if you just the similar journey that we followed for bread pakoda, if you again go back to this urea and see what is its origin, from where it has come. again you have to go back to Middle East, the crude oil, and the fractional distillation. One of those products is urea. So you are also reducing a lot of resources that are very expensive, and the government subsidizes this fertilizer for a lot of farmers. So you are reducing this entire resource utilization. So, for example, urea could be used for something else. No, you don't have to use urea if you have composting at your home. So urea is something which is added as an additive to the soil. When farmers use that additive, the fertility of the soil increases, but gradually it's not a sustainable thing to do. We have been sustaining this earth by the natural substances only, and so the more you compost, the lesser is your demand for urea, the lesser is your demand on the resources which go into making urea and making so many things. So that is one of the things that you have just got right in this discussion.
That is basically you are making better use of whatever vegetables or fruits that you are buying.
Correct.
Instead of throwing it away, you're putting it to a better use. That is composting and making a fertilizer for yourself, for your home plants.
Absolutely.
Right. So, Abhinav, let's talk about your initiative, that is Compostville, shall we?
Yeah. So this compost initiative was basically to have a helpline.
Tell us how did you play with the words and why compost? I want you to give us that highlight.
Yeah, so it just came. I was just having this thought in my mind that we should have we should have a helpline for anybody who wants to start composting. So this it just struck me somewhere when I was just having an evening walk, and it just that the brainwave came, and then let's name this as compost. It gives that helpline feeling, and it also sounds like compost.
Right.
So if you want to compost, you just come and you post your queries. So we started a WhatsApp group, and then in that group there were a lot of people who were composting, and there were a lot of newbies as well. So a lot of exchange happened in that group, and a lot of new people. We got to know a lot of new people who wanted to start.
Connected.
So what the genesis of this was? Yeah. So the genesis was this. I could see a lot of people, giving up composting because of various reasons. So the reasons were if they saw a particular insect, or if they saw a particular worm inside their bins, or if if they got a different smell from their bin, and there was no support system. So composting bin. So they started. A lot of people took initiative, brought some equipment from the net and from various sources, and they started this composting with let us do something for the environment. Let us start composting. A lot of people used to start, and once they got some issues, they used to just give up composting, because if it fails very bad. So your family members, if they are not aware of what can happen, it can stink. It can get a lot of worms that can crawl. So there are so many things that you can feel eeks about, and you don't know what to do. And then there is no support system for such. There was no support system for such people where they could just ask somebody, "Arey, this is what is happening. अभी मैं इसका क्या करूं? अभी तो इसमें ये सब हो रहा है, चीजें क्या करूं मैं?" And you cannot post some things online on any random thing. So you have to have some dedicated helpline. So that is why we started this composting helpline called Compost, and a lot of people started posting their queries, and we started answering those queries, etc. And then this movement grew and we had a lot of hands-on workshops as well. This in Goa, and a lot of reassurance. So reassurance is something which it's very important in composting. So when you get to know from one of your friends or one of your acquaintances, okay, no, don't worry, I'm there. I'll support you. You post anything that you get into trouble if you have, and I will ensure that no, we will solve this problem together. So this community kind of an, building started.
Yeah.
And as soon as people started learning and about composting, they started enjoying. In the group also started growing. So there were so many other people who said, okay, we also want to join the group. And similarly, the members of the group also started going into different types of composting, experimenting with different worms, experimenting with different bins, etc. So the idea started floating, exchanging of experiences started happening.
Right.
So
and innovative ideas, exchange of ideas, of course.
Yes. Yes, so when we have this dedicated helpline for composting, you have various people posting various queries, and then so many questions, so many suggestions come, and then that is how it grew, and more people joined. We got to around, say, 250 people, 400 people, and then okay, let us do one thing. Let us take a target. Let us take a target of say 1,000 composters in Goa, and let us see what happens. So what we did was I just thought about one concept called gamification. So I just read a book about it. It is called Citizen Will. If you can, and then the inspiration came from there. And we said, let's start a game called Compost Will, where we create competition between 5 different cities on 5 different cities on how many citizens are there in those cities which compost. So in 5 cities of Goa, Panji, Mapsa, Ponda, Vasco, and Madgaon, we had this competition of which city gets the maximum number of composters in that particular team. So we had a team. So we called them teams, and then there were coaches which were all coaches volunteered, and guides. So we called we played it like a football game. So it was a composting game of 90 days. So like how we have 90 minutes of football, we had 90 days of composting. So we had half times. We had knowledge exchange sessions, which we called huddles, and then we had so many interesting things. So basically, make it a little hap and make it exciting, and for people to join. And a lot of people have this city-specific pride. So I will not let my city down. I will get more and more people to start composting and get them in the WhatsApp group, and start push them towards composting at home. So that is what happened. And
numbers. I mean, like it just is there. Every person wants their city to do the best. And when you start a competition between cities or towns, then they are like, no, my town has to win. So we are going to do whatever it takes. What an interesting concept. I mean, taking inspiration from football and making it into a game of composting. Healthy competition. We should encourage such initiatives more, I feel. Healthy competition. That I was just trying to have a word with the audience that how you took inspiration from a football game and you made it into such a healthy game, healthy competition between towns that could work out their game at composting and maybe save the future for us.
So this was picked up very well, and all the participants, they took it up in a very sporting manner, and they all understood that this is for everybody's benefit. And we made so many friends. We got to know so many people, And and what happened as a result was, even after the competition got over, ultimately in this kind of competition there is no loser,
Right.
everybody wins.
Everyone
So
is winning.
yeah, so all of the people who started in this initiative, or were part of this initiative, everybody had a good experience of learning. And we had so many friends made. And what happened interestingly was, these communities got developed in these different locations. And the people started exchanging various ideas in those
Idea.
communities. They started meeting each other in those particular communities. And this they just kept on. Even after the competition was over, the WhatsApp group continued, and more people started joining. And
Right.
the ideas kept on happening. And then whenever there was any what happens is, as a admin, you have to sometimes take decisions, or you have to sometimes in a particular when citizens of various backgrounds and various ages and are involved. Sometimes it also happens that somebody posts some irrelevant stuff, or something like
Right.
that happens.
Right. Right.
So we had a very unique way of explaining to them of so what we used to do is, we used to give them yellow cards. So, like in football, if you have a first yellow card, it's a warning. And if you do that same foul again, you get a red card. So,
Right. And then you're
fortunately,
out of
we
the
didn't
game.
have to. Yeah, you're out of the game. So when you have that kind of a interesting concept, more people tend to comply to the rules of the game. And when you gamify it, so when you gamify it, it's like a fun thing. And it's okay
Yeah.
when you get you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain to somebody what you have done and why you have done. No explanation required. You get a yellow card, that's it.
It keeps the
So those
imagination
those kind of
active.
fun
So that is
elements.
why it's very
Yeah. And
interesting.
then they also took. Yeah, so that sporting spirit, everybody took it in a sporting spirit. And a lot of communities got developed.
Right. Since
Yeah.
you're talking about community building, I also want to add this point that there must be such a feeling of belongingness. I think that when people feel that they belong to a certain group, that they have friends, that they have a circle
Yes.
wherein they are meeting
Yes.
with like-minded people, they have a feeling of purpose maybe, and a feeling of content, that oh yes, I'm a part of something and I'm doing something purposeful. There's a
Yes.
slight bit of happiness in doing that.
Yes. Yes. So yes. So what happened was, when we had these hurdles, till then it was mostly a WhatsApp driven
Yes,
initiative,
right.
where many people didn't know each other. And no, since WhatsApp, you come to know only one. WhatsApp is such a leveler. No, there is no equation of the person's background, the person's age. No, there is no demographic. No. What do you call it? No, there is
Yeah,
no separation of this person is of this particular background. There is nothing like that. So it's
right,
like
right. No
background.
one knew much about each other.
Also, nobody knows who is the person there. So what happened was, because of that, when we had hurdles, a lot of people came together. They met each other for the first time. No, they made friends, and then they said, "Okay, you are staying here. Okay, I'm also staying somewhere close by. No, let's meet. Oh no, sometime." So
Yeah,
these kind of interactions happened, and that community building happened. And then it happens that when you are in a particular city and doing working on some particular cause, and when you're interacting on an everyday basis, you get that feeling of belongingness, that okay, I have a
right,
support
right.
group which will support for any initiative that I have taking. So we that is one aspect that I would like to tell you is, a lot of feedback that I got from various groups, was that in this current situation of pandemic, where all
And
the news that are coming, are
a
all
negative, yeah. It's all
and
negative news out there.
give them give yeah. So give a lot of anxiety, and a lot of what do you call it? No, people have a lot of negativity,
yes, negativity,
in the
anxiety, and
media.
nervousness about
So
where this world is headed, the
yes,
direction in
yes,
which the world is headed, and if there is even
yes,
brighter
yes,
tomorrow.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so in these groups, when we did not allow any of those no irrelevant posts, and it always talks about no composting plants, flowers, fruits, etc.
Right.
So that creates a positive space, no, and a lot of people give this feedback. No, this is a positive space that I look up for every day in the morning. No, I see some post where somebody has grown some good vegetables, somebody has not done his composting and he has harvested his composting, somebody has found a new worm in his composting bin. So when these kind of photographs and pictures are shared on the group, so people look forward to this kind of things, and it creates a lot of positivity.
It is fresh content.
Yes. So that is where this community building happened, and now a lot of people are supporting each other. Like there are so many seeds and saplings exchange happening. Like even today in the morning we had a seeds and sapling exchange where citizens came, got their own saplings and seeds, and just kept them at a place, and then another set of citizens came, and then they just took whatever they wanted, and no, they also contributed to that exchange. So these are the things that happen when you have something, okay, I want to share, you share with me. So these are the initiatives that are happening in community building. So from composting, people have graduated to growing their own food. And then there are a lot of things that are happening, like bulk buying also happens sometimes. So a lot of composting people who are doing composting in a community, and when they get together, okay, I want to buy this thing, they get reviews of various things, and then they can together what is your experience about this particular equipment, what is your experience about this particular additive, or what is the experience about this process, how are you doing it. So this kind of exchange happens, and then people help each other in reviewing, and sometimes
so these
bulk
people
buys
have
also
someone
happen
to talk to about their doubts, about what they're thinking of doing new, and whether they should do it or not. Like we all feel like we should have someone who we can reach out to and ask them our queries. So these people have that feeling of belongingness, and they have that they know that this community has their back. Whatever they are thinking, whatever they are planning to do new, they can discuss about it in the community, and they can all come together to a conclusion whether it's a good idea. Should that person go ahead with it or
not? Right. So many things. There are so many identification of plants, etc. happening. So one such story is when one lady wanted to cut a particular tree because she didn't know what that tree was, and then when she posted as a query in that community, the community identified which tree it was, and asked her not to cut that. It gives a very good flowers, etc. So this is a very small example where one tree was saved because of the intervention of a community, only because she had a system where she could just or a helpline or a group where she could just post a particular doubt which she had, and the people went, some of the group member also went to her place to request her not to cut that particular tree. So many things are happening. So it's a very good space.
And after you've told me about these interactions that people are having amongst themselves when the hurdles happened and they got to know each other, I feel like calling these green interactions, because they're making me feel very green, and they make me feel that there is a greener tomorrow in store for us because of people like you, of course.
Yeah. So the community is something which we are trying to build up now. So the more the community builds up, the more like-minded people are there. They are getting more and more people. There are so many innovations happening. A lot of people have innovated and designed different kind of bins at using very natural resources, which are like from the scrap of their homes only, and some picking up some 2-3 items and then making it into a composting bin, and just posted it on for various ideas, and there are various suggestions that in the group that they get, and then further innovate, make better systems, better composting bins, better ways of growing food, so many suggestions. So it's like one place where you can find so many answers to all your questions, where you want to have a sustainable lifestyle.
So, Abhinav, why don't we talk about kids and composting? Now that our future lies, in a way, lies in the hands of, these young minds that we need to shape right now from the beginning, because they are very receptive at this age. Whatever we teach them, they are very receptive. They take in the knowledge, they absorb the knowledge, and then they're eager to try it out. So what do you have to say about children and how composting can be a very good habit to imbibe into them at a very young age?
Yeah, so I'm very hopeful, and the next generation is much smarter than we think they are. And I just found out that when we had this competition, so when this compost will happened in January, yeah. So yeah, compost champ. Yeah, composting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So this idea of what do you do with now? It came in April. So this was a holiday season. April, May was a holiday season, and the kids, a lot of kids. Yeah. So and the kids were at home, and because of this current situation. Because of current situation, not many people are able to go outside their homes, so they are getting bored. So one of the group members, reached out and checked, asked whether we can do something for the kids. So we started this Compostville Little Champs, and this competition also got very good feedback from the participants, and a lot of children have started composting, and a lot of innovations have happened. When we ask them to do, try out various things, so they have gone to this, level of measuring, the weight of the compost pile on an everyday basis, or checking the levels with a scale as to how many centimeters has the pile come down, or how many. These are the things that the kids have done, and with the support of a parent, one Little Champ has also done a biogas system where he has harvested biogas from his kitchen waste, and from the cow dung that he added to that. So the next generation is much smarter than we can imagine.
So while we were having this conversation, I had this thought that now since the lockdown has started, like in the beginning, since the first lockdown, when all the humans were stuck in the houses, and the nature was healing itself. We were like nature has its way. Life finds its way and nature heals itself. That is what was happening. So now that we do see, that we do know that nature is trying to heal itself, why can't we just continue, to help it heal better? And composting seems like a very good way of helping and doing our little bit in whatever way we can to help heal nature.
Absolutely. And whether we do it or not, nature has its own ways of getting us do it. So it is better that we fall in place and respect that, and then we should play our part on what we can do, as and if you can see that even the UN has termed this generation as a what do you call it? They have restoration generation. So so they have named this decade from 2021 to 2030 as a restoration generation, where it is on it is the onus they have given on us, that no, it is we who can no make a difference, and no do whatever we can to ensure that we have a sustainable lifestyle, and we play whatever part we can in that.
Right. This brings this new thing to my mind, that if not us, then who? If not now, then when?
Absolutely.
And with that, I would like to conclude this live today. I had a good time talking about composting today, and like I said in the beginning of the live, that talking to you has made me feel that there is a little part that I can play in, this restoration that you were talking about. And
Absolutely.
if it means that I would have to compost a little bit at home and segregate that waste at source, what better than that?
If every citizen does this, then the waste management problems just it's just not there. There is no waste at all. So because whatever waste that is left is all dry, and there is very less part of that dry waste which cannot be recycled. So most of that also can be recycled. So the problem comes down to a very small percentage. Composting is something which every citizen should do, and the wet waste or the waste from the kitchen should not leave any house. It should just get processed and used, and
therein and there itself.
Yes. So that is the vision which we have for our initiative, and we'll see how it shapes up and how it grows.
I hope it grows in heaps and bounds, because it is the need of the hour.
Yeah. So
thank you, Abhinav, for joining us here on KYE Talks, and I would like to thank our audience for joining us and watching this live. If you feel even 2% motivated to, think about composting, go think about it, go research a bit, and if you feel that you can do it, if it's possible for you to do it, why not?
Yes, absolutely. So all the best to everybody who wants to start composting, and if there is anybody in the audience or anybody else who would want to composting, we have a platform, and you can just reach out, and you can join any of our groups, or maybe create your own groups in your own places, wherever you are. Create a community, because I feel creating a community of like-minded people who support each other goes a long way in your continuity in composting and all the initiatives that you take. So thank you so much. Thank you KYE for having hosted this session, and thank you Sonal for a good time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.